So why don't I go ahead and start off by answering the question I'm sure you're all dying to ask. How much loose skin do I have after losing 180 pounds? Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Katie, and for those of you who don't know me, I used to weigh 360 pounds, and I've lost 180 pounds and kept it off for years now. And on this channel, we will discuss weight loss, weight maintenance, nonsense I see online about body positivity and fat acceptance, my experiences with all of that, and well, anything else I feel like talking about. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and let's get into today's video. So today I have a TikTok from another new friend to the channel, a former nurse turned health coach who has some ideas on how we can fix our loose skin naturally. So I figured we can go ahead and watch this together, and I'll give you my reactions along the way. And be sure to stick around for bonus story time. This week is actually my birthday, so if you stick around all the way till the end, I'll go ahead and just count that as my birthday present, and then you don't even have to go shopping. So let's go ahead and get into today's video.
How do you fix sagging loose skin naturally? Hey, my name is Jamie, and if you're new to my channel, I'm an emergency room nurse who stepped away and became a health coach. So in this video, I really want to go over the sagging, the loose skin that a lot of people may have from losing a lot of weight or after pregnancy.
Well, I'm definitely all ears. I gotta say, after losing 180 pounds, I do have a fair amount of loose skin. So why don't I go ahead and start off by answering the question I'm sure you're all dying to ask. How much loose skin do I have after losing 180 pounds? So I'll go ahead and let's give you a full tour of, well, what my kids call my squishy squashy. So I gotta say, there is nothing at all in this world quite like the confidence boost that comes along when one of your own children roasts you. I can't even be mad at it. It just makes me laugh, honestly. So I have to admit, this is a video I've wanted to make since I started my channel. But I definitely have been a little nervous to do so. I mean, it is a bit nerve-wracking to stand here in a bathing suit and show the entire internet my loose skin. But then I remembered, I'm a Cleveland sports fan. There's nothing in this world that anyone could ever say to me that could ever hurt me worse than my favorite sports teams already have. I mean, losing Game 7 of the World Series in extra innings twice? That's a special kind of hurt. So let's go ahead and give you the grand tour. All right, here we are. This is what 180 pounds of weight loss looked like for me. I've got loose skin a little bit on my face. I do have loose skin on my neck. I've got, of course, the arms and a considerable amount, if you can see. Considerable amount. I will admit, on my arms there's definitely a little bit of fat still in there, but a lot of this is just a large amount of skin that is all collected and pooled right here. So it doesn't matter how much muscle I have built in here, I still have the loose skin. And then we'll just say this top is doing all of the work for the girls. But then if we come right over here towards the back, around my armpit area, there's definitely some that collects on either side for me right there. Well, I did want to show you the legs and the hips, but as you can tell, can't really show you all that much, but trust and believe there is considerable skin there as well. And then that leaves the midsection, which I believe is probably going to be the most common area for loose skin after weight loss. And yes, I have a considerable amount of loose skin, if you can see. There we go. Decent amounts that I can grab from pretty much all angles here. And well, let me give you a full picture. Let's give you everything. There's also this guy. And yes, this is how I know it's loose skin, because I'm able to squish it and move it around in ways I was never able to move any of my fat around. So there you have it. There is the loose skin that I have after losing 180 pounds, having maintained that weight loss for 7.5, almost 8 years, and having no surgical interventions. So if she has any tips on this, like I said, I am definitely all ears.
So there's 3 very important concepts I want you to understand to help fix your loose skin in hopes that you won't have to have surgery in the future. This will also help prevent loose skin as well.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break down those claims. The notion that we might be able to prevent loose skin or somehow avoid surgery when it comes to this. So there's definitely going to be a lot of factors that come into play with loose skin. Some of those factors are going to include your age, how long you were overweight or at your heaviest, how quickly you lost the weight, and perhaps what method you used to lose the weight, as well as the condition of your skin when you're starting off. All of those things are factors into this. And at least from my understanding, anyone I know in real life who has had a substantial weight loss, we're talking 100 pounds or more, it's the type of loose skin that can only be removed with surgery. Yes, there are certain things that you can do to help kind of tighten it up, but at the end of the day, when you are dealing with the amount of skin that I have, I already know that surgery is the only option. And I'd like to even take it a step further and say that I don't even think that this is something that always needs to be fixed. That's something that I hear all the time, that you have to fix your loose skin, or if you want to fix your loose skin, as if it's a problem. And I do understand that there are medical things that do arise from loose skin. You can have issues with rashes and other complications with that. You might have mobility issues where your skin prevents you from doing the things you need to do, like walking or running. And I gotta say, in the nearly 8 years that I've had all of this loose skin, I believe I've only ever had one issue like that with my skin. And let's be fair, it was over 100 degrees outside. I had gone for a walk and I got a lot of sweat trapped in places it just shouldn't have been. So that did cause me a little bit of an issue for like a few days, but I was able to handle that and take care of that. So as long as I keep up on the things that I know I need to do for my skin, keeping it clean, keeping it dry, making sure I'm not using harsh detergents or anything that's going to cause irritation in those areas, that really does go a long way, as well as the clothing that I wear. So for example, I'm wearing bike shorts right now, and if you notice, I always wear bike shorts that come all the way up to my waist. So that way I'm not having any rubbing or any irritation in any of those areas where I do have loose skin. And I always joke that I kind of have to tuck it in, but it really does help, at least personally. Then the other thing that really does help for me is paying attention to what kind of fabrics I'm wearing. If I am going to be wearing something that's a little bit more tight fitting, like leggings or bike shorts, I almost exclusively buy them in moisture wicking fabrics. And that really does go a long way, at least personally, to help keep those issues at bay for me. So I definitely understand that there are medical reasons to have loose skin removed. But I do understand that for most individuals, once you are reaching that stage of medical necessity, surgery is the only option. And if you're wanting to tackle a large amount of loose skin, like what I have, surgery is pretty much like Thanos. It's inevitable. But I think for a good portion of us, we could take it a step further and address this notion that we even need to fix this. I mean, I gotta be honest, I did just show myself in a 2-piece bathing suit to the entire internet. And part of the reason that I was able to do that is because I realized, wait a minute, I've been wearing this outside all summer long for years now in my backyard, walking around, getting out to my pool, playing in the yard with the kids, etc. And I mean, yeah, it's my backyard, but I mean, I live on a corner, so my backyard is my side yard, and you can see my backyard from the main street, so it's not like I have a whole lot of privacy, right? And once I realized that, I'm like, wait a minute. I walk around all the time in my bathing suit all over my yard. I'll go outside in tank tops. I don't have any issue with that. I will wear crop tops. I'll walk around in a sports bra and shorts if it's real hot out. So once I realized that in my day-to-day life, I don't even really think about it. I mean, to be perfectly fair, the first time that I bought a 2-piece after I had lost all of the weight, I remember putting a couple of responses right there in my hip pockets in case I needed to whip them out real quick, in case anyone had anything to say about my loose skin. And in all these years, I've yet to have to use them because, I mean, well, no one's ever said anything to me. No one's even looked at me sideways, at least that I've noticed. At least about the loose skin. I'll say that. So I do understand this notion that for some people it is medically necessary. And I do understand that if you wish to do this for cosmetic reasons, I mean, go right ahead. No one's going to stop you. But I also do know that a lot of people tend to view the skin removal surgeries as almost like the final step in your weight loss journey. And that if you haven't done that yet, then maybe you haven't finished your journey yet. Or that if you can't do that, well, then maybe you shouldn't lose the weight because then all you'll do is just be left with the loose skin. And I truly do believe that it would benefit a lot of us to have a little bit more normalization around loose skin. especially as you do have a lot of people now who have weight loss numbers like I do, 100, 150, 180, 200 plus pounds. And I mean, when you're reaching those levels, I mean, skin happens. It just does. And I'm just not really a fan of this notion that we have to fix loose skin after weight loss. Again, if you wish to, go for it. If you are having medical issues, obviously handle your medical issues. But I also do believe for a lot of people, it's become a cosmetic thing. And it's become this notion that you almost have to do it to feel like you've crossed the finish line and completed your journey. And I gotta say, after 7.5, almost 8 years of living with my loose skin, I have absolutely no desire for surgery. None whatsoever. I mean, to be perfectly fair, I also don't have 40 grand just sitting around to go pay for these surgeries out of pocket. But say, I don't know, the Wish Fairy came along and just magically dropped 40 grand right into my lap. First and foremost, I can think of about 1 million different ways that 40 grand would benefit my life in so many other ways. It wouldn't even register on my mind to use that money for that, at least personally where I'm at in my life. Then the other thing that I always consider is, I mean, it's still surgery. And in many cases, for the amount of loose skin that I have, would be multiple surgeries. Surgeries that I'm going to need time to heal and recover from. Surgeries that I will need a lot of help and aftercare afterwards. And I mean, I do have 2 kids to take care of as well as myself and, you know, my husband, and he works 7 days a week. So you throw all these things in logistically, and I personally don't want any of that. On top of all of that, then I sit there and think to myself, every surgery, no matter what it is, no matter how many times it's performed, the number one risk you're going to have with any surgery is always going to be the anesthesia. And if I'm looking down the pike at multiple rounds of surgery, multiple rounds of anesthesia, I mean, I got to be honest, that's just something I don't really want to voluntarily sign up for. Not for an elective surgery, at least. That's for sure. I mean, I know it was about 6 years or so ago. I was going through a diagnostic process and they had to do a whole bunch of tests to rule a lot of things out. So I was getting the lovely Roto-Rooter, and if you know, you know. And evidently when they put me to sleep to do this procedure, I found out afterwards that I had an adverse reaction to the anesthesia. Legitimately, I got up right after they put me to sleep, and I apparently tried to fight the surgical staff. I don't really know. I don't remember any of this whatsoever. So the only thing I do remember is waking up in the procedure room when I shouldn't have been awake. And I wasn't able to move, couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't speak, I couldn't move a muscle in my body. But I was awake, and I could hear everything that everyone was saying around me. And I heard exactly what the anesthesiologist told the nurse in recovery when he was wheeling me out, when they thought I was still under. And that was, I had an adverse reaction to the anesthesia. I tried to fight the surgical staff. They had to restrain me. They had to give me a bunch of ketamine to get me calmed back down and strapped to the gurney. They then had to put ice on me because apparently I smashed my head on the railing on the bed when all this happened. I mean, given the procedure I had done, I don't know if I really want to use the word shit show, but I don't know how else to describe that. So I gotta say, having gone through that experience with anesthesia, I don't ever want to go through that again. And the only way that I know to never go through that again is to reduce the risk by just not having elective surgeries at all costs. So yeah, really don't want to sign up for that. So again, I'm just really not a fan of this notion that loose skin is something that has to be fixed.
So I have this rubber band here. So let's think about our skin first. So a lot of people think about collagen, which is the protein component of your skin, which is very important. But there is a deeper part of your skin called elastin. That's actually the band that helps collagen keep its shape. So if you think about the rubber band being your skin and you've stretched it and, you know, from losing weight or whatever, so it's been stretched and now it's just, it won't go back to its original shape. That's the elastin that's not making the collagen come back to its normal shape. I hope that makes sense.
Oh boy, collagen and elastin, my 2 arch nemeses. For those of you who don't know, I do have a rare connective tissue disorder. It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Specifically, I have the hypermobile type of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And while there's a lot that goes into it, and if you'd like to know more, I'll go ahead and link a video down in the comments below. So with EDS, my body does not produce collagen nor elastin properly. So collagen is a family of proteins There's approximately 22 different proteins that make up collagen, and then elastin is essentially collagen's close sibling. They are so similar that it's going to take a doctor or a scientist very specialized equipment with their microscope to be able to actually see the difference under that microscope. So unfortunately, that's definitely not going to work for me. And when I say that my body doesn't produce collagen properly, I know that there will be some well-meaning person out there letting me know that collagen supplements exist. So let me go ahead and just break that down a little bit for you. So collagen in your body, you'll have to think of it as a two-step process. So the first step is your body has to acquire it. Now your body can acquire it through those supplements, through the food that you eat, and your body does naturally produce collagen, which will then lead you to step 2. Your body has to utilize that collagen. Now in order for your body to utilize that collagen, remember how I said it's a family of proteins? Well, those proteins, each and every single one of them, is too large to pass through your cell membrane. So your body has to break the collagen down into smaller components, and those smaller components can then pass through your cell membrane. And once it's inside your cell, then your body's going to reform that collagen. Well, if you took a look inside of my cells or anyone else who's got EDS, it's basically a drunken toddler with a Lego set. There's going to be a lot of smashing and nothing is going back the way that it should. It doesn't matter how much collagen you give me, my body is still going to make it incorrectly inside the cell when it reforms it. So my body is never going to produce collagen properly, no matter what source I get it from, no matter how much you give me. It's just never going to put it back together right, just like that drunken toddler with the Lego set. So unfortunately, the same thing is true with my elastin. So no matter what I try to do to increase this or boost that, my messed up body is still going to be my messed up body. And I do understand that this is a rare connective tissue disorder, but I have read a lot of studies from a lot of doctors who are specialists within this field. There are some estimates out there that it could be up to a quarter of the population who has EDS. So I do understand that there are probably a lot more people with this condition than are actually diagnosed. So I definitely wanted to talk about that because, as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of factors that play into loose skin, and the condition of your skin is a huge one. Knowing that I have this condition and that I'm always going to have issues with my skin because of that, I mean, I already know that if I ever did want to take care of my loose skin, it's going to have to be the surgical route. And while we're on that subject with EDS, I do have to be honest, I have been hearing from people within support groups I'm in for EDS that there are some plastic surgeons out there now that are starting to refuse elective surgeries on those of us with EDS simply because of the skin issues, because of the issues with wound healing and skin fragility and everything else that does come along with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So unfortunately, personally, that was definitely a swing and a miss on the first tip, but maybe these other two might be helpful.
So our skin works from the inside out. So everything that you put in your body is a representation of your skin health. So we can put the lotions and potions and all these things on our top of our skin, but it's really just a band-aid for what's going on underneath your skin. Now,
Okay, I will grant her that when it comes to like skin firming and skin tightening lotions. Those are all gimmicks. The wraps, the lotions, the creams, all of those. I don't know anyone personally who has ever had any long-term success with any of that. So I will definitely grant her that. But to say that all skincare is from the inside out, I don't personally agree with that. Please, please, please wear your sunscreen. Please, as somebody who has survived melanoma, please wear your sunscreen. And I gotta say, it very much reminds me of diet and exercise. The notion that you can't outrun a bad diet, but if you have a good diet, that the exercise can certainly complement it. And I feel it's the same way with skincare. Yes, what you do on the inside very much matters, but also there are some things you can do on the outside that do help as well. I understand not in the realm of loose and saggy skin, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention to wear your sunscreen.
you're trying to fix your skin from the inside out, it's not a quick fix. So it takes time for your body to help rebuild that elastin and get all the components that it needs to help your skin. So let's go over these 3 things. The first component is kind of a big one. It goes over hormones. So if you need to like save this or get a pen and paper to start writing some stuff down, have a hormone in your body that actually breaks down collagen. Can you guess what that could be? It's cortisol. So cortisol is our stress hormone. So if you're chronically stressed every day, 24/7, or if you're like a chronic cardio person, so if you're like running on hours on hours on the treadmill every single day, you're spiking your stress hormone cortisol constantly.
Oh my goodness. So what I'm gathering from all of this, at least personally, is that if I become stressed, my body may just disintegrate because it already doesn't put the collagen together properly, and then it's going to break down what is already there. Oh no. Oh no, I better not get stressed out because I'm just going to disintegrate. Oh no.
Which is not good for your skin. So there are two hormones that actually help rebuild your skin and elastin. The first one is human growth hormone, or HGH. You may have heard of that one. That's kind of like your anti-aging hormone. When you stimulate human growth hormone, that actually helps create elastin for your collagen. So how do you stimulate that? So the older we get, the harder it is for us to get that human growth hormone for sure. So how do you stimulate or get human growth hormone in your body to help create the elastin? Number one is high intensity training. And the key word here is intensity. You have to have these short bursts of just all out intensity to spike that human growth hormone. So that could look like sprints. Like if you go all out sprint for like 15 or 30 seconds, 4 times, that will spike your human growth hormone. Same.
Okay, so the one caveat I want to say with this, okay, high intensity training is lovely for those that are able to do so. If she already said at the beginning of this could be used to prevent loose skin. So at 360 pounds, to prevent my loose skin, there is no shot in hell I should have been doing sprints or high intensity anything. I needed to get back up to walking speed before I could even think about jogging or running or high intensity anything. Knowing that she's saying that this could be used to prevent loose skin through pregnancy or through large amounts of weight loss, that's kind of a big red flag to me. This very much feels like glitter and lasers going out there and running that 5K and giving people terrible advice that could really end up injuring them. Because the thing that I always am worried about is if you tell someone to go to high intensity, you don't know where they were starting from. If you want to say you want to build to high intensity, I feel that is a much different ballgame than to say, go and do this high intensity workout. Because you have no idea that baseline of where that person may be starting from. And if they were anything like me at 360 pounds, I mean, I was out of breath just walking to go get the mail. And I had a whole lot of joint pain and joint issues. So that would have been like the worst idea in the entire world for me, was to go and do sprints at that size. And anyone who is morbidly or super morbidly obese, I would definitely very much recommend be as cautious as you can when it comes to intensity. Yes, you want a good workout, absolutely. But at least personally, from where I was starting from, a good workout was 15 minutes of walking. I mean, that was more than I could do. So if I could get to 15 minutes, that means I had worked up to that. I mean, now I can walk for hours and hours and hours, but I know how long that took to work up to that from where I was starting from. So whenever we talk about high intensity training, that starts making me incredibly nervous. You have no idea where somebody might be starting from. And at the end of the day, low intensity or medium intensity, whatever intensity you feel comfortable at, is always going to be better if you feel you can complete that in a proper fashion. If you know that you can do that walk or that run or that lifting at the intensity you are comfortable doing, please stick with that. Because unfortunately, the one thing that I had to learn the hard way myself, when people tell you to up your intensity and you're not necessarily ready to do so, you can very much injure yourself. And then once you're injured, you're not even at low intensity anymore. You're at zero intensity. You're going to have to rest until you recover from that injury. So I found it was at least way better for me personally to at least get into a position to where I knew I could do the low intensity and the medium intensity before I ever even thought about going to high intensity. And yes, I'm sure that there's probably some study or some data out there that's going to show that if you do these things, this will produce the HGH in your body. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I feel like in many cases for people, this is better on paper than it actually is in practice. Because again, the last thing that you want when you're working out is to become injured, because then you're not going to be able to work out for however long that injury lasts.
Thing with high intensity cardio training or HIIT training, but the key with this is the intensity and also the rest. You cannot do this kind of training every single day. This is something that you're going to do maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. The big part with this is the rest. You have to rest and recover and bring those cortisol levels down and rebuild. So a couple things.
Okay, but see, that seems kind of counterintuitive to me, if I'm just being honest, because she prefaced this by saying, what's the hormone that breaks down your collagen? Cortisol. And what's going to happen when you do high intensity training? cortisol. That's why you need all this proper time to rest. Where if you just walk, you could do that every day. You could build that cardio strength every single day. So I'm not anti-running by any stretch. But again, knowing that we're talking about loose skin, knowing that we are talking about people who may be pregnant or have just had a child, or people who are potentially trying to lose weight or in the middle of losing weight, and not knowing where anyone is at and just saying, hey, you can do high intensity workouts. I mean, I personally would be a lot more cautious about handing out that type of advice to people.
Things that actually prevent human growth hormone from happening in your body. Lack of sleep and high sugars. So if you are not getting good sleep at night, good quality sleep at night, I think that's your first focus, is working on that. And if you need help getting the sugar out of your diet, I do have a free ebook, A Beginner's Guide to a Sugar-Free Life. If you want to grab that, it's free. So let's go over the other hormone that is great for building elastin. It's insulin. So insulin is not only the driver of sugar into your cells, but it also helps carry nutrients and amino acids, which are proteins, into your cells. And this is a big one. And what I think is the reason why so many people have skin problems or sagging and loose skin is because we are insulin resistant. Now I have a video on that you can go check out, but just a
Wow, so that's definitely not going to be applicable to me as well. So at my heaviest, when I was 25, I was pre-diabetic and yes, showing the beginning signs of insulin resistance. However, in losing the weight and changing my lifestyle, I have reversed my pre-diabetes. I'm no longer pre-diabetic and I have not been for years.
I'm already pulled over. I'm already pulled over. Pull over farther, man. I can't pull it. Sir, I'm already pulled over.
He's already pulled over. He can't pull over any farther.
So I definitely won't say it's untrue, but I certainly can say it's not applicable to me.
recap of that. So when your cells are resistant to insulin, most of us are in this category. So if you have your cell, think of your cell, and your insulin is floating around because you had sugar or whatever's going on, but your insulin is the key to unlock at the cell. So if your cell is like, I have too much stuff in here, I have too much sugar, you need to go somewhere else, it's blocked. It can't open that cell to get stuff to go into it. So that's the resistance. So if you think about that, the insulin is the key to unlock to get other nutrients in your cell as well. So all your, your vitamins, your amino acids, all those. So if your cell is blocking the insulin, you're not getting the collagen that you're consuming constantly all day long because you think that's going to help your skin. When in reality, the collagen isn't able to get where it needs to go. So if you have insulin resistance, you need to fix that. How do you know if you have that? You can go back and check my video, but some of the key things is that you're tired all the time, you're hungry all the time, you're sleepy, you're fatigued, you're brain fogged. And the reason for that is because nothing is able.
Okay, and I'm going to go a step further and say if you believe you have insulin resistance, please go to a doctor and get checked out. I wouldn't just take a list of non-specific symptoms and then try to self-diagnose. So if you do think you might want to get checked out for that, definitely go get checked out. Don't just listen to a list of symptoms, because I got to be honest, the list of symptoms she just listed, they're called non-specific symptoms for a reason, because they could point to a bunch of things. They could point to nothing. They might not even be the primary symptoms. There could be a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. So, I mean, everything she just listed was what I was going through when I was getting diagnosed for my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Turns out it wasn't that. I had mast cell activation disorder. So if you think you've got something going on and you're not feeling quite right, I would definitely suggest go to a doctor. We don't need to read an ebook. We don't need to take a class. We could just go to the doctors that actually already paid for their degrees.
To get into your cells. So you can eat for the energy, but once it's broken down, the sugars and the fuel isn't able to get into the cells to give you that energy and those vitamins and nutrients that your cells are craving. Okay, so let's move on. So there are cofactors. This is concept number 2. So this is cofactors that actually help the building blocks of elastin and collagen and the amino acids. So some of these cofactors that you need, one important one is vitamin A. If you can get the active form of vitamin A is better, so you don't have to convert it. Your body doesn't have to convert it, which is a whole other topic. Some people have a hard time doing that. So you can get vitamin A in whole eggs, real butter, cod liver oil, and fatty fish. The key concept with vitamin A is that it is a fat-soluble vitamin. So you need fat to absorb it. If you're on a low-fat diet, that is not helping your skin very much. And also, the other fat-soluble vitamins is A, D, E, and K. And those also help your skin stay healthy. So again, if you're on a low-fat diet, that is not helping your skin at all. Okay, the last cofactor I'm going to mention here that's very important for rebuilding elastin is vitamin C. What food has the best form of vitamin C, you think? Did you say oranges? It's actually sauerkraut. That has like 10 times more vitamin C than anything, which is great because it doesn't have a lot of sugar and it's very healthy for your gut as well. But other forms of vitamin C are in your very colorful vegetables, like all the colors of your of your peppers, and then like your berries and your fruit, like your strawberries and your blueberries. Okay, concept number 3 is exercise.
Okay, so nothing really out of the ordinary there. Yes, eat a healthy diet. And I definitely agree with her that you should be eating fat in your diet. Absolutely. I definitely eat plenty of butter, eggs, red meat, whole milk, all of those things for sure. So I definitely agree with her there. It's always wonderful to have a healthy, balanced diet.
Exercise gets your blood flowing, so it moves all these nutrients around your body so they can get absorbed in different places. The other thing you want to do is resistant training. You need to build that muscle. So for example, if you have saggy skin here, you need to start working on your arm muscles and your tricep muscles. So muscle is going to fill in that gap of the loose skin. So it's going to actually make your skin appear tighter.
Okay, so I feel like that might work for a small amount of loose skin, but when you're dealing with the amount of loose skin that I have, I already know there is no amount of muscle in this world that I could build that's going to fill all of this in. I mean, I don't care if I took all the steroids in the entire world and got arms bigger than Thor. I'm still not going to fill in all of this loose skin. And one of the ways that I know that actually is while I was in the middle of losing all of this weight. I mean, I've mentioned it numerous times. I was pregnant back to back. My kids are 13 months apart. So during those 2 years that I pretty much felt like I was pregnant the entire time, I mean, I had the baby belly. And it was quite funny to see, actually. The top, very nice and tight. The bottom, still would have loose skin hanging down the bottom of my baby belly. So I know even when I had a whole other human in me, that still didn't take care of all the loose skin. So I'm fairly confident there is no amount of muscle in the world that will fill that in. Again, if you're dealing with a small amount of loose skin, I feel like these things might be helpful. And at the very least, I don't think that they could be harmful unless you are not prepared for high intensity workouts. But if you're dealing with a large amount of loose skin, you've got 2 choices, truly. You could have surgery if you feel it's medically necessary or if you wish to do so and you're able to do so. Or you can embrace it. We can normalize this. We can be okay with our loose skin. We can wear our crop tops. We can show our arms and not be afraid. I gotta be honest, I kind of really wish somebody would have said something in all these years, because one of the lines that I've had in my hip pocket this entire time is that this is loose skin from losing 180 pounds, that I'm half the size that I used to be. I would love to be able to just kind of drop that on them like a hammer, and I haven't even been able to. So if you feel that you are holding back because of loose skin, or to live your life, or to wear what you want to wear, or do what you want to do, I mean, at least personally, take it from me, you don't have to do any of that. If you'd like to do that, obviously the option is yours. But if you don't want to, I mean, I've been going on 8 years with my loose skin, and I gotta say, this is a badge of honor. This shows all of the hard work that I've put in, and also it is a reminder of how far I've come and how I don't want to go back to the person that I used to be. And I gotta admit, this is one of those times where I actually could use a little body positivity in my life. Just a little bit. This notion that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to always worry about aesthetically pleasing everyone and everything all the time. That it's okay to look a little different, especially when you've done something that is a massive accomplishment that leads to looking a little different. So yes, I could use just a little bit of body positivity on this. I think we should go ahead and actually normalize loose skin. That it's okay. That this just shows that you've come as far as you have. And at least for me, if anyone else has a problem with it, well, I guess that's their problem, not mine.
Okay, so fix your insulin resistance, get those cofactors that you need to build the elastin, and do some resistant training. And if you can do it safely, do some sprints. Don't forget to like, follow, and share, guys. Have a good day.
Okay, well, there you have it. Evidently, if I do those things, who am I kidding? I already know those things are not going to work for me, because all of those things are based upon rebuilding your collagen and your elastin. And well, my body doesn't even like to build it in the first place, let alone rebuild it. So I gotta admit, I don't think I'm going to be holding my breath anytime soon to see if any of that works for me. And again, I have to admit, I don't always think that it's a problem that we have to fix. And one of the reasons I wanted to come on here and discuss my loose skin is I have seen other creators talk about it, and I know how much better that did make me feel, seeing that I wasn't alone in this. I've seen Alan Roberts talk about his loose skin and how he hasn't had any removed and he's not going to. I've seen Obese to Beast talk about his loose skin and how he's not planning on having it removed. And so I wanted to throw my hat in the ring as well and let you know, if you are in the same boat, you're definitely not alone. I don't see it as a problem that needs to be fixed. Again, if it's something you wish to do, don't let me stop you by any means. And if you have a medical reason for it, of course, please handle your medical things. Of course. But this idea that it's just some massive problem that has to be fixed, and the only way for many of us to fix this is going to be numerous expensive surgeries. Nah, I'm going to go ahead and wear all of this like a badge of honor. But maybe that's just me. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think? I'm genuinely curious and I love reading all of your responses. Thanks for sticking around for bonus story time. I really appreciate this birthday present. That being said, with it being my birthday coming up on Saturday, it had me thinking quite a bit about all of the races that I do. Now, I've talked a bunch of times on this channel about the 5Ks, the 7K, and the 8K that I did this year as well. And so I just wanted to kind of really take a moment and look back at this. When I signed up for my first race last year, I had given myself the goal that I wanted to complete at least one 5K before I turned 40. And I ended up loving it so much that I came home that day and signed up for every other race that I could find last year. And then at the beginning of this season, I signed up for even more races. And now that I'm coming up on my birthday this Saturday, I realized I will be competing in my 17th race on my 41st birthday. I went from having a goal of doing just one race before I turned 40 to now I'll be in my 17th race by my 41st birthday. Pretty cool what can happen when you give yourself a goal and then you find out that not only you can do it, but you actually enjoy it and then you want to keep going. So just give you a quick little tour real fast over here. I know you can usually see it in the background, or at least a portion of it you can see in the background of my videos. But here I have all of the medals that I've gotten since I started racing last year. And yes, I do have 2 of the exact same medal. Not really sure why I got 2 of the exact same medal. I know that they were given some explanation at the beginning of the race this year, but didn't really hear it. I was in race mode, to be fair, but I promise you I did complete 2 of these same 5Ks just in different years. And then I do save all of my bibs, so we've got 16 completed so far. And then after this race on Saturday, I'll be able to add to my wall. And then I have 3 more races coming up in October and November, and then I will be done for the season. But I just wanted to share this with you and just kind of point out, it's really wild how much your life can change in just a little over a year. And whenever it's my birthday, I always kind of take a step back and kind of look back at the previous year. I tend to do it more so on my birthday than I actually do at New Year's. Maybe I'm just exhausted after Christmas and everything else. But I always find that birthdays are kind of like a nice reset just to kind of see how far you've come in the last year. And knowing that I get to race on my birthday this year, I gotta say, that is going to be just such a fun experience. I can't even wait. So thank you for sticking around for bonus story time, and thank you so much for joining me today. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye! It's Pokey! Don't you know you're the star of the show? You know everyone sticks around to the end to watch you. Bye!